The Japanese Grand Prix has arrived this weekend, and we're zooming down into Japan to enjoy the sights and sounds and fly over to the Suzuka Raceway, the only F1 circuit that has a figure eight layout with a crossover bridge set between two major cities, Osaka and Nagoya, and the Suzuka Mountains in the background. We have our live servers connected here on the PlayStation Pro, so we're enjoying some contact with other players online who seem to be attacking us. This is Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. Alright. G'day everyone. Z21 here. You can call me Z. Or should I say, minasan konnichiwa, because we are in Japan today to do a flyover of the Suzuka Circuit. I'm still in the Cessna 152, and here I've requested a pushback. I'm still learning the controls, still learning this plane, and still learning this game. Very inexperienced, but it's been so fun. I don't think I'm supposed to be at a main gate at this airport, but it's where I've started. So this is Chubu Centrair International, in Japanese, Centrair, I guess they say. Very good. It is a man-made island built in the bay at Tokoname City in Aichi Prefecture. It opened in February 2005 at a cost of around $7 billion US. The reason they made this island airport is because there are many cargo planes from Toyota and Mitsubishi who can use the airport 24/7 without having the noise complaints from the locals. Some interesting facts about this airport. I've tried to take all of the assists off again, and I went through the checklist trying to see how a pilot would get the plane set up, and you can see rather than using the rudder, I was trying to use the steering function there. I still use the waypoints to try and find my way to the runway, but I think I'll take them off next and just wing it, so to speak. It's late March, so we are now in springtime Japan. Beautiful cherry blossom season. The sakura are in bloom, and hopefully we can see some along the way. The PSSR 2 update was released last week, and I don't know if it made a difference, but you can see many more planes at the airport and here on the runway. So I tried to follow the rules and air traffic control advice, and really fun to see other planes around. Again, this is on the PlayStation 5 Pro.
Hold short runway tree 6, Cessna X-ray Golf Sierra.
I noticed this plane on the runway wasn't moving, and I thought, oh, should I have to wait until they take off? So I think the next move is something that wouldn't happen in reality, but just in the game. We had to wait until we received clearance. So you'll notice I tried to fast forward, as
Cleared for takeoff runway tree 6, Cessna X-ray
although it's
Golf
around
Sierra.
a 30 to 40 minute flight, all of this process took some time. If you saw the last video at the airport in Shanghai, you maybe noticed that when taking off, the plane veered sharply to the right as soon as I added the throttle. So here I am passing by that plane there. Great to be connected to the live servers and seeing other players enjoying the game at the same time. So here we are trying to take off. A little bit of a smoother run, but I noticed again maybe the wind or just my control pushing the plane around a little bit. I used the live weather, so at the time a little bit cloudy, but still beautiful. A lovely day there. So you can see all the planes on the tarmac there, which is great. I'm trying to find the best way to view from in the cockpit, and it takes a little bit of time to get used to it. PSVR 2 is the best VR setup for the PlayStation, obviously. And I believe they're going to release an update in April. Asobo, the developers of this game, the update will allow for PSVR 2 support. I think that will be a great time to jump into VR, which I've never experienced before. So we're taking off to the north, and across the Ise Bay. It's a great view of the location and scenery. I can see a player taking off behind there on the runway. But as we fly out across the bay and to the north, we can see Nagoya, the city ahead of us there. It is the 4th largest city in Japan, and it is the manufacturing heartland and home of Toyota, Lexus and Mitsubishi. And then just as I was trying to get into the flight, I heard the sound of the plane in the background. A little bit surprised there. And then I thought this is going to be fun, a little bit of a fly along. And as I looked around, I suddenly saw the jet flying towards me in front. Stop starting. Maybe can pause live, I guess. Almost like it's trying to target me. Anyway. I think he or she lost control from here. Oopsie. So that was a little bit of a surprise, and even I got lost there for a moment and tried to follow. I found when you're flying outside of the cockpit, it's a little bit harder to control. So I usually try to go inside to get my bearings again. But there's Nagoya to the north. And a little bit to the northeast of here is actually Mount Fuji, about 260 kilometers away. You can actually see it on a clear day from maybe a higher altitude. And there was another online player there. And I thought, that's fun. Great to explore the area together. And then maybe mixing this game up with a bit of a battle type game. It felt like I was suddenly being hunted. Actually makes you feel like you're really flying a plane here, so it was a bit daunting seeing these planes around. Luckily they just fly through you, but a bit of a strange glitch. That's quite funny. Anyway, fortunately they got the hint and moved on. So this region in Ise Bay is one of the busiest industrial shipping arteries on the planet. So as we reach the shorelines of Nagoya, I started flying to the west. Took them a little bit of time to get the hint. I think this will be a really fun game to play with multiple planes in the air, flying in formation and exploring an area. So hopefully more and more players pick it up for the PlayStation 5, and even better if they somehow introduce cross-play across all of the PC version and console, Xbox. You can see the Suzuka Mountains in the background as we fly over Ise Bay towards the Yokkaichi Port. On this side of the bay is the Mie Prefecture. And again, part of the heavy industry in this region. And the Yokkaichi Port just here is the site of Japan's very first petrochemical complex, built in 1959. You can see the oil refineries. And actually this is where I noticed the cherry blossoms. Amazing they have this in the game. In full bloom there. Awesome to see. So apparently this port is famous for factory night views where tourists cruise around on boats to enjoy the industrial lights. The mountains in the background, Suzuka Mountains, they trap the wet coastal air coming off the bay, which is why Suzuka Circuit has unpredictable weather, and probably why they move the race to spring versus autumn when it's the rainy season. You can notice the ships there are still not really lined up in the water correctly. That would be a disaster. A few funny glitches again in this game. As part of this flight, I was trying to avoid the insufficient fuel mixture pop-up that I received during the flights previously, and so again trying to study and learn. Although I'm sure it's not completely accurate, definitely it's an opportunity to learn about flying planes and maybe a bit of the science as well of aviation. And so amazing just to fly over Earth from the sky. So again, just fast forwarding as we head towards Suzuka. Suzuka sits between, as I mentioned, Nagoya, which is about 50 kilometers to the north, and Osaka, which is about 130 kilometers, a couple hours to the southwest of Suzuka Circuit. You can see the mixture of houses, factories, agriculture below, and apparently it is famous also for some green tea in the area. But here we are, approaching Suzuka. It takes a moment to come into picture, and so you can visualize the track. And many people who visit the track for the race, they utilize the trains from Yokkaichi, the Kintetsu Railway, which I noticed below as I was flying along. But there it is, you can see the main straight there just on the left, and the full track layout. What a great view. And although it's between two major cities, there's really not much around the circuit. I even heard some of the reporters who cover the F1 talking about not really many places to stay around the circuit. But the track, Suzuka Circuit, is 5.8 kilometers long. It was designed in 1962. And more specifically, it was created for the Honda Suzuka factory, which is located right there next to the circuit. And it was originally built just to be a test track for Honda's road cars and motorcycles. As I mentioned, it's the only circuit in the F1 calendar that has a figure eight crossover layout. the bridge you'll see is a disaster on the satellite imagery, and there's another major anomaly on this track you'll see. Actually, a couple. So as we fly over the furthest part of the circuit from the main straight, and just do another loop of the track. When you're watching the race, you don't realize how close it is to the ocean. But there it is, not that far away. One of the famous icons that you see around the track is the red Ferris wheel. But I noticed as I was again flying around the track, it's not there. So the satellite imagery doesn't be able to pick it up. But there is a theme park just here on the left next to the track called Motopia, right there, the Ferris wheel. And look, down the main straight, there's a building right in the middle, just across the start line. I don't know, that looks messed up. And even some of the buildings around the track, which I'm sure are stands, are grandstands, just randomly looking like they're actually buildings there. But here we go, around corners 1 and 2, the first turn, and then into the S curves, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, into the Dunlop curve. Round here into corners 8 and 9, the Degner curves. That's supposed to go under a bridge where the track crosses over, but look, the bridge is just fallen, unfortunately, right there. And then corner 10 and then 11 for the hairpin. I'm not really sure that's how you should maneuver a Cessna 152, but there it is. Corner 12. I love playing Gran Turismo 7 and other racing games that has Suzuka. It's so fun to drive around. And then spoon curve 13 and 14. And then the back straight with high speeds and the very dangerous 130R. Hopefully the F1 cars can take it flat out this season. And then coming up to the Casio triangle 16, 17 and 18. Back onto the main straight. So let's have another closer look at this building in the middle of the main straight. What the? Quite hilarious. Hopefully they can do another satellite imagery update into this game. And there is the Honda factory. All of the new Honda cars below. Actually a really fun place to see, and it would be amazing to visit one day. But again, really not much around the track, is there? It's not really very close to a major city that you could you know, stay out and go to the track on race days. But such an iconic Formula One circuit that I'm sure it's there to stay for the, I guess, near and even into many years ahead. So then another quick flyover as we start our return leg back towards, and there's where the right there, that red spot is where the Ferris wheel should be. I noticed a little bit of stutter again today, so really probably pushing the PlayStation 5 Pro to its limits. Maybe due to the CPU, I would say, versus the graphics card in the PlayStation. Then trying to lift my altitude here to get back on the way back across Ise Bay. I was admiring the scenery here, crossing the train track there, all of the houses and buildings closer to the water. And what I really liked here was looking at the reflections off the water of the clouds. Just really nice to see the scenery. Beautiful. I'm really enjoying this game, and again, definitely can recommend if you are interested and enjoy flying. Obviously, the PC version of the game is where you can maximize the graphics. But for me, I think this is still, it's great. So here we go, back across the water, saying goodbye to Suzuka. Looking forward to the race this weekend. So interestingly, Ise Bay was traditionally famous for pearl diving. Now, however, it is actually one of the largest ports in the region and automotive exports that come out from this location in the world. So here I was trying to follow the right process of returning to the airport. Not really lining up my turn very well there, trying to find the runway. I also realized I didn't use the trim to try to maintain an altitude comfortably. I was using my thumb the whole time on the joystick and actually started to cramp up near the end here. But even though this is such a small moment of the game, trying to land safely is really fun. Here we go. Always trying to lift the nose slightly before it touches down. Quite a, again, hard landing there, but able to slow down quickly in this plane. Another reason I wanted to avoid using the waypoints anymore is because I feel like they put me in the wrong direction. And you'll see here, it takes me down off the runway. I remembered where I had to go. To the same gate. I set the departure and arrival spots for the flight that I could follow along on the map. And as I started going down this area of the airport on the tarmac, I realized I'm going way too far. And it wanted to take me back onto the runway in the opposite direction. And again, took me straight in the path of another plane. It's like this game thinks it's a bit of a Aces of Thunder or something like that. Trying to add some elements of attacking each other. Anyways, so I realized I just need to take my own way back to the gate. And stop for a moment. I'm sure air traffic control would have a challenging time. So here we go, just taking my own way back. Probably not appropriately. Again, will lose my license, my pilot license doing this. But I found gate 21 where I started. Lots to learn, and I'm going to continue using the checklists in the game and finding out all the different elements of this particular plane before moving on to the next one. And I'll have to understand a little bit more about air traffic control and the right processes and procedures. I even struggled to find out how to turn the plane off again, so did it manually by selecting the switch there. But thank you again everyone for hanging out. If you have any questions about the game or the race or anything you'd like to chat, welcome to say hello, and really appreciate you hanging out. And if you've seen this far, I hope to see you again.